Hi there, welcome back. So straight into the video today. Wayne is going to be making some lovely bezel set rings using UV resin and wire. Now, we've got some pink wire here. This is jewellery wire, craft wire. Everything as usual, where possible, will be linked in the description box. So we've got some different gauges of wire. So if you ever used jewellery wire before, you'll know you've got different gauges ranging from sort of 0.4 all the way up to sort of 2 mil thickness. So gauge is the thickness of the wire. So he's picked a gauge here in a lovely pink. We've got I think these are surgical steel ring. What I don't know what you call them, ring blanks. That's it. Think of the word, Laura. And he's decided to try and incorporate some of this lovely pink wire. Now this is wire we've had for a long time. This is probably a good nearly 20 years old, some of this wire actually, from when we used to make semi-precious jewellery using crystals and so on. And he thought he'd try and utilise some of it in his. Please excuse the state of the chipped nails. But moving on. So there's a lot of close-up work in this, so it's a different type of video, quite difficult to shoot. So apologies if some of it isn't as usual as our usual standard of videoing. But here we go. So what Wayne's doing now is he's using, I think that's a 0.4 gauge, a very thin pink coloured wire. And it's jewellery wire, and he is using it to weave it in between that other frame that you can see there, him holding the thicker wire. That is probably a 1 mil thickness, I think. And all he's done is he's taken a long length of it, folded it in half, measured it around the ring blank, the inside bezel part of it, to get the sort of shape that he wants. And so now I have sped up certain sections of this video, otherwise you'd be here forever watching this. He is literally just weaving it in and out in between that frame of the thicker wire, the thicker gauge wire. If you want more instruction, or maybe you want to see perhaps more videos on jewellery and how to do various bits of wire work, we are not overly professional, shall we just say? Well, not professional, that's the wrong word. We used to do quite a lot of wire work, Wayne in particular. He's got a lot of patience. Used to make settings for pendants, freeform. They were always freeform, a bit like this, very organic, using lots of lovely semi-precious gemstones and crystals. If you want to see more videos, perhaps I'm obviously moving away from resin here. I'm aware of the fact this is usually a channel where we're using resin. He does use resin in this video, in these rings. You'll see what a bit later on. But if you want to see it more, then let us know in the comments. As I say, these are just always is just a how to make, to give you a bit of inspiration, maybe inspire you to go out and create your own. Think about what you could do. I mean, you don't have to use the if you just want to make some wire work rings, you don't need the bezel sets here. So here's a bit of a close-up. Apologies, some of it is, I said, out of shot, and for the state of the fingernails, sorry about that. But you know, if you work a lot with jewellery wire, you'll know that you're never going to have beautifully soft skin and so on. But can you see the weaving effect there that he's managed to accomplish? I'm sure that if you actually do a search on YouTube, you'll be able to find lots and lots of videos on wire working with jewellery wire to make pieces of jewellery. Gemma Crow is a lady. If you research her on Instagram and on YouTube, you'll be able to see her where she's appeared in videos for another jewellery making channel, where she's have regular guest designer appearances. She's also linked currently to a company called Charmers Gems, where she does, I think it's Facebook or maybe Instagram lives, where she's designing things using supplies that they provide her with in the way of semi-precious gemstones. But anyway, moving on, back to this video. Wayne is now just, so he's obviously been weaving that in and out for quite a little while, and he's just putting it back on the frame, back onto the ring blank, just to make sure it's working the way he wants it to. Now, I can't remember the term. It might be basket weave that he's doing, possibly. I mean, you don't have to follow this. What you could do is wrap it around the whole of the frame, the two pieces, for, say, 4 complete wraps around it, 4 hole wraps around the 2 wires, and then go in between the wire for 4 wraps, and then wrap around the two pieces of the frame again. I mean, I'm possibly not explaining myself very well here, but it's totally up to you what sort of design you decide to do. Or if you look at this and think, oh, no, this is way too complicated for me, I think what I'll do is I'll do something different with a ring blank, which there are lots of things you can do. One thing we don't do in this video or show you how to do is if you've got lots of little pieces of, have you seen the power, is it power shell, P-A-U-H shell, or little tiny bits of gemstone chips? Make sure they're not lots of spiky, and you can lay them flat in where the bezel space in that ring blanket is. And you could mix them in with resin, the UV resin that you're going to see Wayne use. Or you could put a layer of UV resin and then put the little pieces of shell or little stones that you've got into the resin, cure it, and then put a coating of resin over the top. That would look absolutely beautiful as well. In fact, I did think Wayne was going to do that for one of these ring blanks, but he didn't. He stuck to something that was a little bit more simple. So we've got 2 intricate ones and 3 that are a bit more basic, but lots of different colours of ring bezel you will see. So this one is more your sort of silver tone looking surgical steel hypoallergenic thing, kind of ring blank that he's used here. So look at that colour contrast is lovely. Really, really lovely. Think of all the different coloured types of wires that you could get. I mean, we've got them in navy blue, we've got them in pink, we've got the chartreuse green, we've got silver, we've got the gold, we've got the more copper looking ones. As I said, we used to do quite a bit of jewellery making, using the semi-precious stones and things. We also did do some with using all silver as well. We don't tend to do that now unless it's special requests for family members and things, but so please don't, we have tended to move away from making jewellery and doing commission pieces and things now, so please don't feel offended, or don't be offended if we don't offer our services to make commission pieces of jewellery. We've moved on, let's put it that way. There are plenty other artists out there and creators that would be able to do that for you. Anyway, look at that. I mean, that looks really lovely, and that's not bad considering, that's quite neat considering he's not done this for a few years. But, you know, very therapeutic, but it can be a bit tough, a bit hard on your hands, because there's a lot of pulling, a lot of twisting, a lot of pinching, and sort of pushing up of the wire just to make sure it's all nice and neatly next to each other. So it's just tidying up a little bit on the end there, so it's out of frame slightly there. But look at that, you get the idea. So he's done the basket weave for a while, and then he's gone round both pieces of the wire for a certain number of times round it. There you go. And then he's just gone back to going in between the 2 wires, putting it through the other side, bringing it round the top, and then back through again, under through the other side, and so on. There we go. It's just fascinating to watch this. I always found this very fascinating to watch him do this. Really, really beautiful. One of the other things we used to do macrame style jewellery using jewellery wire and jewellery threads and semi-precious gemstones. Of course, if you wanted to have a go at doing that, instead of using the semi-precious gems, oh, look at that. Sorry, I had to stop then. Look at that. Do you know that just as a ring on its own would be lovely, maybe with a little round sort of rosette style at the top to make it like a rose, or as a bangle if you wanted to do it on a much bigger scale. Obviously make sure that you get a tough enough thickness of wire to use. So you can see there, he's just put it back onto the ring blank there, just to make sure that it is doing what he wants it to do. And then checking to see how much more of the wire wrapping he does need to do. But this is beautiful. This is going to look, this does look stunning. Obviously I've seen it finished up. and it does look beautiful. You could just do the wire wrapping and leave it at that, put it on the ring blank, secure it in place, but Wayne does add another couple of little features to it, which again, they look lovely. You could thread through some little faux pearls if you've got those. Completely up to you what you decide to do, how intricate you want to make it, and obviously depending on what you've got in the way of materials. So there we go. He's almost finished with the wire wrapping. See, it looks beautiful. That would look beautiful if you had a bangle blank, a big enough bangle, and you did that with the wire all the way around the bangle. It would look really beautiful. You could then make a resin heart, just a flat one, not a puffy one, and you could fix it onto it as a focal piece that dangled down on the bangle. I mean, it looked beautiful. Now, what Wayne's decided to do here now is to make a little bit of a spiral. There we go. So he's just using some flat nose pliers there. Carefully just holding it in tight and then moving the wire, so he's using the heat within his hands to help work the wire round. There we are. Every time you touch the wire with the pliers, you're going to work harden it. Okay, so it's going to become tougher and tougher and more difficult to bend. So you can see that was the second little rosette that he'd done. Look at that. Wow. So you can just leave that like that, which is actually, to be honest with you, I thought was what he was going to do. If you've got some tiny little pearls, you could put those in there. Oh, very nice. On a hairy hand. You could put some tiny little seed pearls in there, but he decided not to do that. He did something else. So what you haven't seen him do is he's put some UV resin. He's using it like you would maybe a good glue, just to secure it in place into the ring bezel, and then he's cured it. Now a little bit more UV resin is going into the center of these two little spirals. So that's one. And he's got some of these lovely little acrylic roses that you might have seen us use before. And then what he did is he used the UV lamp just to cure it into place. And he did the same again with another one. And it looks fantastic, that ring. We've got a black ring bezel now. And he's got some little, I think this is just some little sterling silver plate chain. There we go. I think this is I think they call it a Belcher chain. It's just a standard link chain. Measured it to the length and then added on another link. Cut the chain to the length that he needed. Opened up that link. And then managed to put it onto the blank like that, and then secure it closed again. He's got those are some needle nosed pliers there that he's used. So now this machine he's putting it onto is it's a turner machine. I don't know if that's probably the correct term for it or not, but basically it revolves, it rotates, and you can use it to make these lovely rings. It can go clockwise or anti-clockwise, and I think it's got a couple of two or three different speeds. And it's ideal for doing this. Now, we have made rings before. If you haven't seen that video, why not check that one out in our playlist? And you can see what he made that time around. So all he's done is he's set the chain into the bezel part of the ring. He's secured it back together, and he's using the UV resin as a glue to secure the chain in place. So he's just putting it underneath the lamp there, and then he tops it up again with a bit more UV resin, so it's a nice rounded, I think they call it a D-shaped ring to the touch, and then cured it again. So here we go, look now. So we've had the sterling silver or stainless steel colour, we've had the black, now we've got this beautiful metallic-y blue coloured bezel, a bezel ring. And all he's done is using UV resin again, he's added in some glitter. Now, it looks white, but I think it's actually glow in the dark or colour shift. So we'll see what it's like very soon. So he's just mixed it into this little mini silicone mixing jug. So it's UV resin again. And then very carefully, I did speed this bit up, but he's poured it into the bezel. Now, you've probably noticed or may have not noticed, there is a blue mat underneath the machine that's turning the ring bezel. That is to protect the surface that he's working on and the wooden part of the machine underneath, which you can't see, because, you know, if the resin falls off, it's going to fall onto it. And you need to be able to do a nice, clean, tidy up job. So he's just going in with a micro brush there, just adding a little bit more of the resin in, and then he will go in and he'll cure it using the UV resin lamp. So it looked very white in the little mixing jug, didn't it? And now it looks, it's gone sort of milky, maybe clear in places. You can see that. It's not equally on the machine, actually. It's not level on the machine, so it does look like it's sort of wobbling. But and just a little bit of cleanup required there, trying not to get the resin on the sides of the ring. So he's just using a little bit of kitchen towel to do that. By all means, wear gloves to do this process, and under the resin lamp there to cure it for another 60 seconds. Now we've got, I would call this like a real brassy gold coloured ring bezel. And look at the vibrant purple resin. Wow. Again, that was a, I think that was a pigment, or I think it's a pigment. Then again, it could be a mica powder. I know he has got some glow in the dark powders, so let's, I may have well just given that away. Let's see what effect those have. So again, he's just mixed it using the UV resin and the pigment or the mica powder. I mixed it up well, and then doing exactly the same process as before, applying it to the ring bezel, popping that little mixing jug underneath. And then obviously making sure that this turn machine is on the slowest setting possible, equaling out the UV resin into the bezel part of the ring blank, just using a little micro brush to do that. And then he'll go in, once he's happy he's got enough of the UV resin in, he'll go in and he'll cure it with the resin lamp. So if you've joined us today, hi. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you've liked, shared, subscribed. And if you're in the live chat with us, hi in the live chat. Now look at this one, my gosh. So this is really, I would call this a petrol and water effect ring blank. And he has gone with the most Kermit coloured green that I can think of and have seen. It is vibrant with a capital V. And again, just mix that in with the UV resin, doing exactly the same technique as you've seen him do before. So I hope you're enjoying this video. I know Wayne really enjoyed making these rings. I think he's worn a couple of them, the UV resin with the coloured micas or pigments in them. Yeah, he's not worn the roses one. But yeah, I mean, these ones won't be going up for sale. They are actually just for us to keep, just for us to practice with, to see, you know, should we just say refresh and revisit some things that we've done before, see if we've still got the idea, the like of doing it. Maybe we'll do some more, maybe we'll put some up for sale soon. But look at that, so those are charged, they are UV luminous, glow in the dark. Purple one not so much, but I love those colours. Look at the, I mean, they're very different. And here we go, here's the final beauty shot there in some little ring boxes. Hope you've enjoyed the video. And we will see you all again very, very, very soon. Have a great crafting time, everybody. Bye-bye.